Welcome to Breakfast with Bob, Challenge Atlantic City edition. This is our day 2, and today we're kicking it off with Fireman Rob Verhelst. Rob, how the heck are you?
Oh, fantastic. It's beautiful out here. It's going to be a great race tomorrow. I'm really excited.
So, Rob, take us back before we even get into Fireman Rob. What were your sports growing up?
You know, when I was growing up, I swam pretty much most of my life when I was from when I was 6 all the way until now.
Right.
And then I played college basketball and water polo.
Oh, okay.
And I pretty much dabbled in every single sport because I wanted to have that competition.
Were you always a Wisconsin guy?
Always a Badger.
Always a Badger. So grew up in Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then when 9/11 happened, did you feel immediately, I need to be there?
Yeah, it was. I worked for the City of Madison Fire Department at that time, and in the morning, we had just had a fire, and we were getting off shift, and I was in the shower, and I was listening to the radio, and all of a sudden I heard that the trade towers had been hit, and all of a sudden it was like, you know, biplane, nothing big.
Right.
Went downstairs, all of a sudden turned on the TV, and it was another one.
Yeah.
And knew it was an attack, and immediately I knew that I had to go, and part of the rescue team that I was a part of was called up, and so we went.
So as a rescue team, when there's no one to rescue, how brutal was that?
You know, you get there and your mindset has to change. And at that point, nobody knew the extent of it.
Sure.
And when we got there, nobody was really prepared for that kind of thing. And getting there, it was emotional in the first few days. And then all of a sudden your body goes into that overdrive. And it went into search and recovery.
Right.
And that's a tough moment.
And how many days were you there?
I was there 8 days.
8 days, and it's one of those things you never forget.
No, you don't. You never forget. But you know, for the first few years, it was hard because it was hard to grasp, you know, why something like that would happen.
Sure.
And then as you progress through life, you have to realize that you got to take the good things out of that, and that's kind of where we are today.
And the good things are?
The good things were how we came together and how we moved together as a country and really as a world.
Right.
Everybody didn't question who you were, what you were, anything like that. They just said, what do you need? And there was that undying need to just help. And that's really what we got to get back to.
And how long was it before you created Fireman Rob?
The 10th anniversary landed on Ironman, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so I wanted to have everybody really remember what it was about. And the best idea that I came up with was wearing fire gear for the run portion.
Had you been doing triathlons up until then?
You know, I had done a few triathlons. I had done Ironman, Wisconsin the year before without gear and everything. I had done Ironman or half Ironman Florida. And so I'd done a few.
Right.
But nothing to this extent.
And when you made that decision of wearing a 9-pound helmet, and how much does all the gear weigh? And you swim and bike, you're Mr. Incognito. Nobody knows who the hell you are.
Yes.
Right? But then all of a sudden, boop, into the telephone booth, boo, here comes Fireman Rob in the run.
Exactly.
How much does the gear weigh?
It's upwards of 50 pounds. So it's
50 pounds, and that's the helmets.
That's the helmet, the air tank.
Everything.
Yep. Everything.
And the first time when you're like half a mile in, would you start thinking, this is the stupidest thing?
Yes. It's not very breathable. The suit.
You think?
Yeah, it keeps in the heat. It's a black suit.
Yeah.
But you know, the first time, like you said, the first time I did it was in Racine.
Right. Oh.
And it was
degrees.
brutal. Yeah, it was brutal there. And about 2-3 miles in, this guy comes across the way and gives me a hug on the run. And says, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. I'm a FDNY firefighter, retired after 9/11.
Yeah.
This means so much, and started crying.
Right.
And then you realize that's why I'm doing it.
Bigger impact.
And you can't stop.
Yeah. And so when you're in these races, and now you've done 14 full Ironman distance races, 6 halves, you're losing 10 to 15 pounds per race. What type of comments do you get during a race?
You know, it ranges everything from did you lose your fire truck to
I like that one. That's
an individual in Kona. I'll never forget this.
Yeah.
Double amputee.
Yep.
Running the opposite way. Looks over, points at me, and said, "You're inspiring."
Yes.
And to me, it's like I'm putting myself through this.
Right.
Whereas that double amputee didn't have that option, didn't have that choice, and they're doing something inspirational. I mean, that's that impact just it's amazing. Daily we get messages on Facebook and Twitter, and it's really neat to see people changing their lives because of something that you do. And with 3 kids,
Yes.
you want to prove to them that through action, not just through words,
Right.
you can change things.
So what do your kids think of this?
They think it's great. They get to go all over the country, and we got to go to Mont Tremblant last year. And
Yeah.
they get to meet people of all different races, creeds,
Yeah.
cultures, and see how great this world is. I mean, it's amazing for them to be able to experience this.
Have you done any races in New York since all this happened?
You know what? I haven't. It's a tough pill to swallow to go back. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a huge part of my life and who I am. But
It would be very emotional.
It'd be a very emotional. I was gonna do that Ironman New York
Yes.
but just couldn't put it in me.
So I remember you were telling me that in Kona, because they do scientific experiments, right? And they
Yep.
try to figure out how much weight people are losing, and so you're with the pros
Yep.
and getting weighed.
Yeah.
Right, and those guys are lean, mean
Oh,
machines,
yeah.
144 pounds and the whole bit.
Yeah.
So you get up on the scale, they get up on the scale. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's interesting. And Macca was right in front of me that year, and all these guys are just lean.
Yeah.
They don't enjoy the cheese curds and the beer like I do in
Yeah.
Wisconsin,
Yes.
and go up to the scales, and if it was a heavyweight fight, I would have won right out of the bat. Because we go on these scales, and the guy next to me is 150. The guy next on the other side is 160. I step up on that scale. I don't think they had it set well, but 215, and hey, you gotta do something. So it was good, and it's good. I tell people I'm functionally fit.
Right.
And that's the best thing is you look a lot of endurance athletes and they say, oh, I can't do that, or I
Right.
can't do that because I weigh this much. And I say, look, I weigh 215.
And you're
I put on
weighing
the gear,
50 pounds, 265.
265 running, putting on the Ironman.
Yeah.
So.
Now, do you walk most of the run? I'm imagining.
I
Not
do.
Really, because that'd be too jostling, 50 pounds of stuff.
I do, but there's some races that you have to push it. And going back to last year in Tahoe.
Oh, you did Tahoe?
Yeah, I finished with 5 seconds to go.
Oh, my God. And it's 27 degrees at the start. I remember people telling
yeah.
me they wore their wetsuits. They
Yep.
put the wetsuit on the condo and
Yep.
drove to the start of the race.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's snow on the mountains.
Yeah.
And the bike was brutal. I actually called my wife up, and thank God she didn't answer. I wanted to stop on the bike.
Yeah.
And kept going and did it for a gentleman, Bonner Paddock,
Okay.
with who had cerebral palsy, who
Yeah.
finished Kona, and did it for his foundation. And it was one of those things, again, where you can't stop.
Right.
And, with the finish line, I had not much time, so I had to run the last mile and a half in 9-minute miles.
Wow.
And
You got there.
got there.
So do you try to hook up with a different charity for each event? Is that the setup?
So I have a foundation. It's the
Right.
Fireman Rob Foundation.
Yeah.
What our premise is, our mission is to bring gunned teddy bears
Right.
to the children's hospitals in every
Yes.
city that I visit. And this year we're doing it in all 50 states.
Really?
Yes, we have ambassadors that'll be taking them to the children's hospitals. We've had Southwest Airlines has done amazing work for us.
Cool.
And so that's our mission. The second part of the team of the Fireman Rob Foundation is to just have people find their passion and be part of something bigger. So it doesn't matter what you're passionate about, follow it.
Right.
Do something more for it. And so that's why, in these cities like Blazeman, I'll be rolling across the finish line in fire gear. It'll be tough.
I was going to say, hopefully you don't get stuck on your tank.
A little turtle
We'll
on
come
the
back
finish.
we'll come back next year and be like, hey, what's that thing in the middle of the road? Rob, it's Fireman Rob.
He's still
I'm
here.
almost there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made the time then. But yeah, so it's really recognizing those people that have followed their passion.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we can do is recognize those people and follow our own to make it better.
What's always interesting to me is we look at sometimes triathlons, it's a little sport, right, at the end of the day. And I know, through CAF we've raised $55 million, and what you're doing, sometimes it's you look at the little sport and realize, oh my God, this thing it's unbelievable how passionate these people are.
It is amazing, and you said it exactly right, is that it's a little sport.
With a big heart.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest thing, is that people don't understand that to make an impact, it doesn't have to be a grand gesture.
No.
It can be one step.
Exactly.
And that's what everybody in triathlon proves, is that it's one step. That person that lost the weight, that person that survived, cancer,
Right.
that person that's fighting for their mom with ALS, and all these things are just amazing. And it's just that one step that they're taking.
And it's interesting because there's always a reason to stop, right? There's always a reason, like, hey, this is too heavy, it's too hot, it's whatever.
Yeah.
And you don't know who's going to inspire who. And the fact that here you've got, it was probably Scott Rigsby, double amputee, doing Ironman, pointing at you and going, you inspire me, right? That's, you never know around what corner that your next inspiration is going to come from.
Exactly. I mean, I always tell people I get to meet the most amazing people at the back of the pack, because all those people have amazing stories.
Yes.
The people that finish from 14 hours to 17 hours, it is amazing. I mean, I've met in Ironman, Wisconsin, I met a woman who was in a car accident 3 years prior to this. They said that she wouldn't walk.
She's doing Ironman.
She's doing Ironman. She said, my favorite part of this is my finisher picture is going to go on my Christmas card, and it's going to go to that doctor that told me you couldn't walk.
So you're here in Atlantic City for Challenge Atlantic City. Have you done a challenge event before?
I have not. I mean, and it's been amazing coming into this. They say the challenge family.
Yes,
and
it's a family.
It's not just a title. It is really a family. I mean, they bring in your whole family and say, you know what, this is a journey, and we're going to help you get there.
Right.
And that's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And when you're walking, and like you said, you've been in 14 fulls, and that's usually when you spend a lot of quality time walking with somebody, right?
Exactly.
You find out, say, we're going to go to that next pole, run a pole, walk a pole, whatever. Have you made some friends for life through that?
Definitely. There's been so many people in it, and that's the great thing, is you go to a lot of these events, and all of a sudden somebody comes up and they said, "Hey, thank you so much for helping me finish."
Right.
And a lot of times, it's one of those things where you do it subconsciously.
Sure.
You just go out there, and everybody, like you said, challenge family. It's a family, and when you're out on that course, everybody's a family because we're trying to get to the same goal. Everybody has you say that it's a finish line. But it's not really a finish line. I think for a lot of people, that's the start of their lives.
Exactly. It's turning everything around.
Exactly.
Love that. Hey, well, have fun out there on Sunday. So where do your kids hang out while you're out racing?
Well, they have fun.
I bet. So they're playing in the water. They're having how old are your kids?
7, 9, and 11. Noah, Peyton, and Avery.
And they'll be out there, and then they'll be like, oh, hey. It's close to midnight. Dad will be here soon. Let's pretend we care. I love that.
Yeah, unless they're sleeping.
Exactly. Fireman Rob has been our guest. We are at Challenge Atlantic City. This is Breakfast with Bob. Hold on. We'll be right back.
Oh, when the sun beats down and burns the tar up on the roof.